Good evening. Right now you should be settling down to watch a football game here on ITV, a friendly between England and Holland, but you're not. The game, like much of everyday life in this country, has been disrupted by night after night of looting and rioting, stretching police to the very limits as they nervously await to see what this evening brings. Many of our communities have already been devastated. In this Tonight special, we try to get to the bottom of what is going on and ask how we take back the streets. Hello, it has been a terrible week with the worst riots on mainland Britain for more than 30 years. Tottenham High Road, Saturday night. The violence begins. The police come under attack. A double-decker bus goes up in flames. A supermarket is set on fire and shops are looted. When the sun comes up the next morning, the devastation resembles a war zone.
If you start a bonfire in the middle of a high street and you've got bored youth around, they're going to come out as though it's a carnival.
The riots were sparked after the shooting by police of Mark Duggan in Tottenham and spread quickly across the capital. The police seemed powerless and the politicians were on holiday.
From where I'm standing here on Clapham Junction, I cannot see one policeman at all. This is quite extraordinary, really. Every shop they can find, they're looting.
Another 24 hours of destruction follows. A massive warehouse is torched in Enfield. Infernos destroy homes and businesses in Croydon. 300 youths rampage the streets of Hackney. Across the capital, lawlessness has taken over. The Prime Minister flies back to England.
I have this very clear message to those people who are responsible for this wrongdoing and criminality. You will feel the full force of the law. And if you are old enough to commit these crimes, you are old enough to face the punishments.
10,000 extra police officers are drafted onto the streets of London. But violence is brewing in other parts of the country, which soon explodes. Last night, the people of Birmingham and Manchester were amongst the latest victims. When will it all end? I would like to hear your views tonight. You can join in our debate on Facebook, Twitter or by emailing tonight@itv.com. Well, last night the violence took a deadly turn. 3 young men, apparently on the streets to defend their community from attack, were killed. Well, this is now a community united in grief and in anger. Many say they will be back on the streets tonight to protect their homes and businesses. Well, joining us live from Birmingham is Mohammed Sarfraz Madni from the UK Islamic Mission. Thank you very much indeed for joining us this evening. First of all, perhaps you could just tell us what the mood is like there on the streets of Birmingham tonight.
People are very angry, devastated. They feel insecure. They are worried about their properties, their lives of their children, mosques, Islamic centers, business centers, and so on. So they are really confused what to do. Do we have to come out and protect our families and protect our mosques ourselves, or police should be there? But I believe that this is the time that police need our support and we need their support. We must work together and protect our houses, our businesses and mosque centers and so on. So this is the time when community is standing up unitedly. All communities are uniting themselves, and they are thinking how to protect our cities, our streets, and our businesses.
Mr. Madni,
at this time, people.
May I just ask you, do you feel that the police have let you down, or are you prepared to say we have to work together?
We have to work together. Some people are criticizing police, but in my honest opinion, this is not the time to blame each other. This is the time to work with police, to work with all law enforcement agencies, and bring those people, criminals, to the justice. So this is the time to work together, not to blame each other. Later on we can sit down and find out who couldn't do his job properly, but this time at the moment we must work together, and we need their help and they need our help. So community and police should work together.
Mohammed Sarfaraz Madni, thank you very much indeed for joining us this evening. Well, extra police resources have been promised to towns and cities hit by rioters. 16,000 officers are now on the streets of the capital. Greater Manchester Police say they'll have more men and women patrolling tonight. And this afternoon, Alex Salmond, Scotland's First Minister, committed around 250 specialist riot police to help English forces. But the question remains as to how effective the police have been. Well, I'm joined now by the Metropolitan Police Deputy Assistant Commissioner, Stephen Kavanagh. Thank you very much indeed for joining us this evening, Deputy Assistant Commissioner. Thousands of officers out on the streets of London again tonight. It cannot go on like this, can it?
Based on what we woke up to yesterday morning, those scenes of buildings burning, we need to make sure that tonight we keep London safe for one more evening, and that we also work with communities, because that's what made the difference yesterday. We need constructive work with them, because we've seen that the identification of these people off the Sun newspaper, off other websites, that's what's helping us. The two evil vultures that robbed the boy that we saw that video, pecking at him, we know who one of those are. We're going to go after them. We are after them now. There are 800 people arrested. This is a huge investigation. Specialist resources, detectives are going to follow those people up. And tonight, I hope with communities, we'll keep London safe.
But the fact remains that you need other people out on the streets to help the police, because the police cannot do their job. Is that correct? Are you encouraging more people to come out to protect their own communities because the police can't do it?
Absolutely not. What I said was we saw communities coming together, talking to young people who were considering doing stupid and criminal things, taking them home, breaking up groups with police officers in a really effective way. The vigilante-type groups marauding down streets singing football songs will not help anyone. We're dedicating officers to them instead of trying to make sure that businesses and other people are safe. Their anger is understandable, but we need calm at the moment. I've heard a man tonight who's lost his son saying everyone needs to stay calm. That's what we've got to do.
Boris Johnson, the London Mayor, said that cuts to police shouldn't be considered in an atmosphere in a situation like this. The cuts cannot help the police service at the moment, surely.
Tonight we have an enormous number of officers out on the street. The rest of the services for London have stopped almost. That's going to have an impact on the officers, it's going to have an impact on the budget and the people who want a response to their burglary and other issues. The resourcing more broadly, that can be discussed between the Commissioner, the Home Secretary and the Mayor in private. I'm not going to get involved in that tonight. I want London to stay safe.
Deputy Assistant Commissioner Stephen Kavanagh, thank you very much indeed for joining us this evening. Thank you. Well, any government knows that if you lose control of the streets, you quickly also lose the support of the electorate. Since returning from their holidays, politicians have been touring the length and breadth of the country, trying to convince a worried population that they are in control. Well, I'm joined now by the Crime and Security Minister, James Brokenshire. Thank you very much indeed for coming to join us this evening. If the government doesn't protect its citizens, it has failed, hasn't it?
Well, we are working very closely with the police and other agencies to ensure that there is a very firm and resolute response to what has been wanton criminality, people just engaging in mindless thuggery with the terrible impact that we've seen on communities, on people, on livelihoods, on families. And we are very clear in the robust response that is being given to this, which is why tonight we do have around 16,000 police officers on the streets of London, why the Home Secretary also had a conference call with all police constables up and down the country to look at good practice, to agree with police officers that we should be bringing in the specials, that we should be looking at police overtime and dealing with those and cancelling police leave as well. So all of that work coming together to be very resolute and robust.
It may be coming together, some may argue it's not, but it's taken 4 days to get a grip. Why?
Well, I think that these have been extraordinary circumstances that we've seen. I think the police have indicated very clearly that these are circumstances that they have not seen virtually in many police officers' lifetimes. We are working very closely with the police to reclaim those streets, making sure that people do feel safe in this way, and we are very, very clear on that.
But people look at the way the government is behaving. Yesterday, the Home Secretary said that water cannons, props wouldn't be part of the solution. Now the Prime Minister says there is. Only today has all police leave been cancelled in Greater Manchester. There were clear warning signs in London. Some would say that this is a government that has been caught on the hop and is desperately trying to keep ahead of events.
No, we are working in a very resolute and measured way. The Prime Minister has made very clear today that we will support the police in whatever lawful activities that they wish to do to actually ensure that they can conduct the policing response that is appropriate. We will support the police. We will work with them. That is the role of government. That is what we are doing. That is what we will continue to do.
And how can you say you're supporting the police when there are cuts coming which would presumably, and the Mayor of London has said this too, undermine the sort of activity in these sort of circumstances? Boris Johnson raised a very clear question about that.
Well, we're having to deal with the financial situation the country faces itself in, and the fact
but the cities are burning, Minister.
Well, but the fact is that even with the reductions in budgets that are proposed, and we don't want to have made the changes we have. It's because of the position that we've found ourselves in from the previous government. But we are very clear in having made those changes that they are deliverable, that they are manageable, and at the end of the spending review period, that there will still be the police officers to deliver the type of police response that we've seen on all our streets over the course of the last few days.
There was a shift in the Prime Minister's tone when he spoke on the steps of Number 10 this morning. He talked about parts of this society being sick. How do you begin to address this? What is the government strategy?
Well, there are a number of things that we are dealing with. Obviously, immediately ensuring that the policing delivers the safety and security. That is our number one approach. The Prime Minister tomorrow will be making a statement to Parliament, giving information on rebuilding communities, the support to businesses that have seen their livelihoods damaged, and also focusing on those other issues, the gang issues that perhaps have underlined some of the wanton criminal activity that we've seen in many communities across the country. There are a number of elements to this. We are very focused on all of them to ensure that we can deliver safety now, but not just now, in the future as well.
Strategy like that costs money. Will you fund it properly?
Well, we are very clear that the resources are there to be able to deliver. For example, on gang interventions, activities on gangs, we've already committed £18 million over the course of the next 2 years.
So more money will be available to address this specific situation of parts of our society which the Prime Minister says is sick?
Well, the Prime Minister has said this morning that the police will have the resources and the capabilities that they need. We will deliver on the public safety that the public expects us to see, and the Prime Minister will be setting out that message clearly to Parliament tomorrow as the actions that will be taken.
James Breckenshire, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Well, it's hard to comprehend the mindless destruction that countless families across the country have suffered. After the break, we'll be talking to some of those who have lost everything. We'll also be speaking to a rioter to hear why he did it. See you in a moment.